Hi, welcome to Carolina Crafting and Green as You Can Be. I got lucky this time and found two shows wrapped up in one. I'm at an organic gourd farm. Actually, I think I'm in heaven. I'm in a chicken coop filled with wonderful, cool chickens, which you all know I want. And I'm at a gourd farm, and right now we're in the middle of this monofilament line. I believe it's to keep.
That's correct. It's a maze.
Keep the hawks out to keep from getting the chickens and the gourds. And we have luffa gourds growing here, and I have Mike Glover, owner of, and he and his wife own Sleepy Hollow Gourd Farm, an all-organic gourd farm, and they do wonderful work. Mike's going to tell us a little bit about this setup here with the luffas.
Okay. The luffa, I don't know what, the luffa is really one of the harder gourds to grow, mainly because the germination of the seed takes so long, sometimes 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes longer, and sometimes it's just, maybe you get 50% germination.
Oh, that's not good.
And what we try to do is we start them in the greenhouse that we have here, and so that we can go ahead and get the gourds up, maybe this high or a little bit higher, and try to get them into the ground by no later than May 15th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That way it gives us a super long growing season. As you know, here in the mountains, the growing season is narrow. We got a narrow time frame.
It is.
And so that's why we get them started, get them out on these fences, get them out on the vines, and then let them just start growing at their own pace based on Mother Nature and all the good rain. And we've had good rain.
We've had great rain this year.
and we keep them close here to the chickens so that, that makes them get just a little bit extra fertilizer. And as you can see, these things have just gone crazy.
These are the most healthy luffas I've ever seen.
You're actually probably seeing some of the biggest luffas that we've ever grown.
Oh, wow. So it has been a great year for them.
And so these things
still got more coming on, too.
Yeah, they're continually growing. As you can see, even these, they've made it to the barn, they're going to the barn. and as long as the frost holds off this year, if it holds off to October 15th this year, all these gourds are continually growing, growing. And because what we want to do is get as much growing time as possible and allow them to dry a little bit on the vines. Frost doesn't hurt them. It slows them down, kills them down. What you don't want is a heavy freeze. There's a lot of moisture inside of these luffas.
Right.
And the heavy freeze will just rot them, and there's nothing. Then you lose them basically.
That'd be sad after all.
Yeah, after all this, yeah.
But if a heavy freeze is coming, can you cut them off and take them in? And
what we'll do if we see a heavy freeze, we will cut them and take them probably into the greenhouse.
Okay.
Because it's a controlled climate more or less, and then we'll get them dry that way.
As long as you don't lose them.
That's right.
Let's go on down to your greenhouse and look at that.
Okay, all right, that'll be great. Since all the chickens, see, you can hear the chickens are laying eggs for us today.
All right. I noticed when we came out of the chicken coop that you have some raised beds here. What's going on here?
Okay, well, the first bed is the carrots are just now starting to come up, and you can just barely see the small carrots coming up. And then the second bed is spinach. We got some spinach that's starting to grow. Well, I got a couple early ones that are really doing well, but in about 3 weeks we'll be eating spinach every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That looks good.
And then the remaining beds are in the process of being cleaned so that we can put in the fall garlic.
Oh,
so
cool.
we'll have garlic next year.
And it comes up.
Well, you actually put your garlic bulbs in about from now till sometime first week in October, and they'll grow through the winter, and then next spring they go.
And how long will the carrots go through to the hard
Well,
frost? Or?
what we're hoping is that we don't have any of those real bad 10-degree weathers.
Oh,
And so, but I'm prepared. If I have to, put some kind of covering over top of them. Last year we had carrots until second week in January.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
And you're right close to fertilizer. You don't
Right.
have to go very
That's
far.
right.
All organic fertilizer.
Strictly organic fertilizer.
That's
and,
so good.
and mulch and everything, and that's what we use.
It's so great. We still haven't made it down to the greenhouse.
Not yet.
Let's go.
We'll go.
There's a great view from up here on our way over to the greenhouse, which we'll finally get to. But I had to come look at this tree that had gourds growing from it. The luffa has climbed its way up this neat tree. But as I looked over here, I noticed they have apple trees. They have a cool berry patch down over here. They have a spring-fed pond, which is like really neat. And then you can see the greenhouse from across the way. And I noticed that there's pokeberries. I didn't know the name of them until today, but I've always was told by my great-grandma never to eat them because they're poisonous. And Mike here can tell us a little bit more about them.
The pokeberry is one of the old dyes, the natural plant dyes that people use for the red, and it still works very good. I mean, they used to dye their clothes with it, and you can use it as a natural dye on the gourds also.
We should try that.
Yeah, we should,
Yeah.
but we don't have time today, but we probably could. But see, the pokeberry goes back to, in the spring when it first comes up, that's poke salad.
Oh yeah, I've heard of
That's
poke
what people
salad.
eat. They eat the poke salad. And when it gets up about, a couple inches, you harvest it and eat it as a salad in the spring of the year.
So it's not poisonous as a spring plant, but
no,
the
but
berries.
when it gets on up a little bit higher, then people say it gives them a real bad, hurts their stomach because it's starting to carry the poison in it the older it gets.
I learned something today.
Yeah.
Thanks. Let's keep on trucking over to
That's
this
right.
greenhouse. We finally made it to the greenhouse, and it's warm. It's fall here in North Carolina. I didn't mention we're in Bryson City, North Carolina, and it's a little on the cool side this morning, but in this greenhouse it's nice and warm. In the spring, this is where you start your...
That's correct. We start our plants here.
Not only do you do gourds, you have other...
We do a lot of different herbs and a lot of vegetable plants, and you can't really see them, but there's pots sitting around that we've got some cucumbers and squash in that we're going to grow the next couple of months in here. When it starts getting too cold outside, we'll grow them in here.
So it's not too late if you have a greenhouse or a warm covered area, you can still get in another little crop of something.
That is correct.
Ooh, it gives me
Yeah.
hope. I missed out on my spring planting. I might run home and plant my cucumbers.
That's correct.
It might turn out okay. I noticed that you have some gourds up here dry, in different stages of drying. And I know in your hand you have two...
We were up at the luffas. What I was going to tell you, that the luffa gourd has the yellow flower.
And it's the only one with
the only one. All the other gourds have the white flower.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But squash has yellow.
Squash has yellow flower.
I've seen squash, but I had never noticed that before.
But that's the difference between the two types of gourds.
I noticed that there were bees up there pollinating.
Yeah, we have a small colony of the real small bumblebees, and they're the best pollinators.
They're little hard workers.
They work those flowers to death.
And these are your greenest ones.
Right, what happened is, it's in the fall and all stages of drying is occurring. You can see different stages. You can even see, this is one that started drying a little bit earlier, and you can see the mold is already starting to grow on the gourd.
Is that good?
That's what you want.
Okay.
That means they're drying. They're solid. The mold is growing on them, and whereas some of the others, it hasn't really started yet. It's starting small, but there's still lots of moisture inside of these gourds.
If you cut it open, that would all be flesh.
Flesh.
And that all has to dry.
That's correct.
Into nothing.
That's correct. And you want the flesh to dry from the inside out, so that it absorbs into the skin and makes the skin real tough.
Well, I didn't know that either. You have all different sizes.
Just different sizes, different types.
And from different seeds, obviously, right?
That's correct.
They have names.
Yes.
Different names.
A lot of these are what they call the canteen gourds, and then there's some small martin gourds, and
I saw some little tiny ones. I think these are cute.
These are the little bottle gourds.
Those are really cute and heavy. I've had bottle gourds after they're dry, and they're really light. So
there's lots of moisture still in them.
There is. And how many months will it take for these to be fully dried?
you know, they'll dry through the winter and spring. You know, if everything goes as they should, by next May, June, we can use these gourds.
So the crop the ones you plant in the summer or spring, you can't use till the following year. It's a whole year process?
That's correct.
Oh wow, so you have to plan ahead for...
Basically, you know, if you plant that seed May 1st of this year, May 1st of next year, you should be able to use your gourd.
Wow, so it's a long process.
Long process,
Yeah,
yes.
make some definite plans.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on up to your workshop and see what
Okay.
we do with gourds once they're dried. Mike, I saw this drinking gourd one here in your finished products. This is really cool, longest handle one I've
Yes,
seen in
that
a
is
long
correct.
time. I also want to mention that you use your tags here, the leftover pieces for tags. This is really neat.
That's correct. We don't throw any pieces away. We use the broken pieces, broken gourds, and use them as our price tags. And it gives a little explanation of the gourd, you know, our name, what the gourd is, and the website, and things
That's
like
good.
that. Yeah.
And you're not wasting any. You're
That's
being as
correct.
green as you can be.
That's exactly right.
Can you take us through the process? I know this is finished, this is in between, and you've got one that
I've
needs
got one.
cleaned. Really
I've got
bad.
one. This is a last year's product. This is the long, they call it the extra long handle dipper gourd. And as you can see, this is the mold that we were talking about, the mold that grows on the gourd when it dries. And so what we're going to do is put a little small amount of water, and it kind of loosens up the mold a little bit. And I use just a Brillo pad, and then you have to start cleaning the area. Keep applying water to it, and you continue cleaning. And gradually you clean, as you can see, everything cleans off of it. And then once you go through this whole process and all this is cleaned, then you come to a gourd that is totally cleaned. And then this gourd now is ready for us to do what we want to do with it. This is a finished product that the color has been added to it, and so now we have the finished product basically.
A lot of people complain about the mold, that they have allergies and stuff. I notice you don't wear a mask. Is there it?
No, I do wear a mask
Do ya?
from time to time. A lot of the mold, as you can see, this one is not really so bad. Some of the ones that you're starting to see in the greenhouse, you can see the spores start to form and it gets real thick. That's what causes the allergies.
Okay, so you put a mask
Yeah,
on when you're
put
doing
the
that.
mask on when you're cleaning, basically.
How about when you open it up?
When you're opening up, that is your worst part, because there's different types of mold that apparently are growing inside of these gourds, and when that first cut through that skin, that air and those spores come out, and you know we've heard people say that when it bursts out, goes to their eyes.
Oh wow!
And get infections in their eyes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you got to wear something to breathe to keep the dust out, and something to protect your eyes.
Also like eye covering too.
Right.
I didn't know about the eyes and those, the breathing, and I knew about.
Yeah.
I used to work with sphagnum moss all the time, and I did
Right.
pick up a bacterial infection one time from the moss. So I know that you have to be careful when you're working with natural products. Join us for part 2 of Sleepy Hollow Farms, where we'll meet Mike's wife, Joan. Joan combines her loofah sponges with homemade soap for a wonderful product. I know, I've tested it out. Then Mike and Joan show us various shaped gourds transformed into beautiful works of art.
And you can see this is a dozen of the eggs.
This one's
This-
amazing.
This chicken had a very good day. If you can see
Yeah.
how big this one is compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, she must be real
Oh,
proud.
she's happy.